right. So today I'm going to talk to you guys about gynecomastia, right? And this relates to me because I have it myself. I don't know if you can see it kind of from this angle in my chest, but I've had it since like middle school, or I believe since middle school. I might have had it before then. And I work out and stuff like that, and of course I still have it, but I feel like I've improved the appearance. But let's just get into the nitty-gritty of stuff, right? So what is gynecomastia, right? You might have heard that term, might have heard that word, but you might not know what it is or what it means. So gynecomastia is the development of breast tissue in young men. Mostly it happens in young men. You can get it in older age, but it's the development of breast tissue, of course, that happens behind the nipples. Some people can get like big gyno, like they can like where it looks like actual breasts. Some people get like medium size, where I feel like that's what mine looks like. And then some people get like puffy nipples, right, where it might not be so visible, but it's like, it's still there, right? If you have it, you can kind of feel in your chest area, and then feel in that area where like it's like this like mass that's there that's separate from your actual muscle tissue, right? And so how it develops or why it happens is, let's say usually during puberty, you get a hormonal increase, right, when it comes to your testosterone. And since your hormones have to balance, and for compensation, your estrogen goes up, right? But your estrogen might go up too high. And when your estrogen goes up too high, then you can end up developing gynecomastia, right? But about 70%, at least now, 70% of males, when they go through puberty, they get gyno, and then they end up losing it as they, finish their puberty, right? But about 25%, and that number might be higher now, but 25% of that 70%, they end up just keeping it, right? It ends up staying with them, and it doesn't go away after puberty. And I feel like there's an increasing rate of young men, that have gyno or have had experiences with gynecomastia. Because I feel like, there's some environmental factors, eating habits, stuff like that, that end up having us develop this breast tissue, right? And also one thing too is, if you are overweight, right? If you're obese, right? If you're fat, if you have a big back, whatever, you can't really tell if you have it or not, because you might have a lot of body fat in that area, like in your chest and your stomach. But once you lose the weight and you still see like this like breast formation almost, then there's a good chance that you have it, right? And again, if you have it in old age, when you're older, it's because your testosterone is going down and your estrogen isn't balancing out with your testosterone, so you end up getting gyno as well. Bodybuilders, people who take steroids and stuff like that, in gear and test and trend and whatever, they can get gynecomastia. They can form gynecomastia in their chest, because of course they're taking all these drugs to boost their growth hormones like testosterone and stuff like that. And then of course estrogen ends up having to rise up too, and then estrogen might rise up too high, and then end up getting gyno. So going into my experiences, right, having it in middle school, I was like a fat, chubby kid, right? I was getting made fun of for having like my moobs or man boobs, right? And it just like, it was an experience, it was, that happened, and so it just kind of made me feel very insecure about myself and stuff like that. And it made me feel like I was like less of a man for having the gyno, right, for having gynecomastia. At the time, I didn't even know I had gynecomastia. I just thought I was, it was just because I was fat, right? And then I ended up losing the weight. So I ended up losing the weight, and I'm like, dude, why do I hold so much fat in my chest area? What's going on? And my mom was like, you need to build muscle, do some push-ups. So I would do some push-ups. Of course, I wasn't training like hard enough to do proper push-ups. But then I started getting into like stuff like, how to get rid of man boobs, like just like 7-minute YouTube videos or whatever. And then there was a video where it was like, okay, this is man boobs, right? And then this is gynecomastia. And I'm like, what's gynecomastia? And I look it up, and I look up pictures, and they were pretty similar to how my gyno looked at the time, right? When I was not really training hard or whatever the case may be. I went to my doctor, my pediatrician at the time, since I was underage, and she was saying like, you can wait until you're 17. At the time I was like maybe 15, 16. You can wait until you're 17 to see if it goes away. It didn't go away, and I kind of lost hope, right? Because I would look on the internet and I would just see a bunch of stuff about how like, oh, the only way to get rid of it is through surgery. You know, whatever the case may be, you can't get rid of it through any other way, or you can't mitigate it. Even seeing some stuff where saying like, oh, doing chest exercises or exercising can ruin it because it can push it out more. And yeah, I was just discouraged. So I didn't work out. I wasn't motivated to work out because of my gynecomastia. I let that stop me. I let that get in the way of progress that I could have gained, you know, maybe in the beginning, right? If I didn't get that discouraging information, but all of it is bull. But with me being discouraged about my gynecomastia all throughout like my middle school and high school life, or, you know, a good amount of my high school life, I would always wear like hoodies and sweatshirts, right? It'd be like 90-degree weather, it'd be summertime, I'd still wear a hoodie, or I'd wear like some type of baggy clothes. I didn't want people to see what I had, bro. I didn't want people to see that. Like, it would just be so embarrassing, right? I would like hate when I like forgot to bring a jacket or something. And by not bringing like a jacket, I would end up like ruining my posture. Instead of like walking up straight or tall, you know, I would like kind of like walk around like hunched over a little bit. And my parents didn't like that I was doing that, because of course I would be ruining my posture, right? So I was so subconscious about it, like, oh my gosh, what are they gonna think? What are they gonna think? What is that grandma over there, you know, spending time with their grandchildren gonna think about my chest? Oh my gosh. Oh no, my boobies, they're not gonna like me. But like, in public, whatever. But middle school, ruthless. Everybody has something to say, bro. Everybody it just needed to say something, bro. Even girls and stuff like that. Everybody just needed to say something, right? So it's so crazy. But you know, that's middle school. Everybody's ruthless. Yeah, but yeah, it definitely did kind of like, it was like one of like maybe one of the things, many things I was insecure about at the time. But now, you know, it's nothing to me. It's almost nothing to me. I mean, it bothers me here and there, but not too much, right? And so going back to me not exercising, right? At some point, I do exercise around the age of 17. I do end up exercising anyways, and I end up doing push-ups, right? At first, I was avoiding any pushing movements or, well, any like chest movements, because I thought like, oh, if I grow my chest muscles, it's gonna push it out, right? So I just did like a lot of like shoulders and back and arms and stuff like that. But then I ended up doing push-ups, and I love push-ups. I love doing the movement. I love dips, right? And I've noticed like, wait, my chest is like filling out more, you know? It doesn't have like this like breast looking look anymore, you know? It looks like an actual chest, right? When you develop your chest, you know, your upper chest, your mid chest, even your lower chest, it fills out your chest. So that way you don't get like that saggy, like booby look, right? So that helped my self-esteem a lot. I looked better in shirts. I could wear regular shirts now without having to wear a hoodie all the time or a sweatshirt all the time. I didn't have to hide myself anymore. And I was just able to feel more comfortable in my own skin through exercise, even if I had gyno. So I didn't let that stop me. I didn't let something like that keep me from making progress that I could have been making. So through me deciding to exercise anyways, I was able to improve my gyno, mostly just through 2 exercises. That's push-ups and dips. Any push-up variations, right? So diamond push-ups, deficit push-ups, elevated push-ups, right? Where you have your feet elevated and you get like your upper chest working, shoulders, your mid chest, stuff like that, and dips. Dips has helped a lot. I feel like dips has probably contributed a lot to allowing my gyno to not look so crazy, because since I'm working the lower chest is like a big amount of mass, right? Some people say like, oh, don't do dips, don't work your lower chest, because that's just gonna make it look worse. But if anything, it's kind of like as if like let's say this is the gyno, right? And then me working my lower chest, because the gyno sits at the lower chest, it kind of like thins out. It's like me building that muscle like thins out that gyno almost. And so it doesn't look as protruding or whatever the case may be. So I can wear like compression shirts and stuff like that without it even being really noticeable. One thing too is like, you know, before I started working out, you could look at me from all sides and it would be noticeable, right? If you look at me from the front, you can't tell most of the time, right? Depending. on the lighting and stuff like that. If you look at me from the side, you probably can't really tell. But if you look at me from like a 3/4 view, then you can tell, but that's an improvement, right? Before it was like, you look at me, 360 view and you can see my gyno every which way, right? But now, like here, and here to the side, you can't really see it, right? If you look at me from the front, if you look at me from the side, you can't really see it or notice it. Some people don't even notice it. I've even gotten compliments on my chest, right? Just like, hey, what exercise do you do and stuff like that, blah, blah, blah. And, I'll have gyno. So it's like, work out, bruh. Don't get discouraged. Don't give up so easily. Now, other ways to improve your gyno would be something like leanness. If you're very lean, right? So it can make it look better because, for one, there's not much body fat sitting in that area, right? I noticed as I was losing weight when I first started working out, it didn't look as bad. And of course, I was also putting on some muscle as well. And when you're leaner, right, you don't have so much body fat that ends up sitting in the chest area. Men tend to store a lot of our body fat in our upper body. So the chest, like shoulders, arms, stuff like that. And you don't want to have a lot of body fat on you, right? So you already want to kind of like be on a way to a healthier path, right? There's so many people that made up a lot of differences just by losing weight if they had gyno, and it almost looks like it's gone away, right? So you definitely want to try and eat better. And a way to eat better is by cutting out processed foods and processed meat. One thing to realize is a lot of the foods that we eat, especially when it comes to animal products that we eat, have actual estrogen in them, which ends up growing our breast tissue, right? So stuff like some beef products, dairy, milk, right? Milk is very high in estrogen. I don't even know why we drink milk. 2/3 of the population are lactose intolerant. And then there's like some other things, right, that increase estrogen and stuff like that. So it's like milk has actual animal estrogen, which is very similar to human estrogen. So it attaches to ours and grows it, right? I did drink a lot of milk. I had a lot of cereal when I was young, although I was lactose intolerant. So I'd be like farting all the time, but I was still drinking it every morning, because I was having a bowl of cereal, and then I'd probably drink cups of it throughout the day. And of course, there's the whole got milk stuff, got the milk mustache, Rock Dwayne Johnson, whatever. And it's at the same time, I didn't realize I was probably destroying my hormones, right? My endocrine system and stuff like that. So definitely probably stay away from any dairy products. If you're going to eat meat, eat very clean sources of it. And yeah, so just stay away from high estrogenic foods and stay away from ultra processed foods and any processed foods really, and have maybe minimally processed stuff. So that way it's your hormones can kind of balance out, especially if you are a young man. If you just developed gyno, you just got it and you're maybe 13 years old or something, I think it can be reversed again if you exercise, if you watch what you eat, right? So if you try and eat cleaner, and just try and take care of yourselves a bit more, don't eat candy and stuff like that. It's just gonna make it worse. Now, through my research of trying to see what can take care of gyno or how to reduce gyno, blah, 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 there are pharmaceuticals, right? There are drugs that can be taken called tamoxifen or whatever, and relaxafine. But I do not recommend taking any of that stuff. I haven't taken it myself. I've seen people's gyno reduce, but the thing is, these things come with a bunch of different side effects, right? I'll just try to read some of them off, right? So it has a lot of side effects like headaches, nausea, blood clots, effect on the liver function, and sexual dysfunction. So I do not recommend taking any drugs whatsoever. We all can have different responses to it, and then it's not going to take care of it permanently. You have to end up taking it for the rest of your life, right? So unless you want to be taking a drug for the rest of your life, then don't do it. And hey, if you can afford the surgery, if you want to take the surgery, if you have gynecomastia, then you can. But you shouldn't let something like this bother you so much, right? Again, I still work out. I went to the pool and to the beach shirtless within the past year, and I haven't heard of anybody say anything about it, right? Because I have more confidence in myself, in my self-image, right? I have a six-pack, bro. I have a six-pack. And it's like, bro, so what, man? So again, you can still develop your body. You know, you don't have to give up on exercise like how I did years ago. You can still keep exercising, still keep working out, still work out your chest, because that's gonna make it look better, right? Especially all the muscles around your body, like your shoulders and your arms and your back. Developing those muscles are going to allow you to distract away from the gynecomastia, right? And you might realize that, like, hey, maybe I don't even have gynecomastia. Maybe I just have like a lot of body fat. Or maybe my gynecomastia isn't as bad as I thought since I lost weight and built muscle. Now I just have like a puffy nipple or something like that, right? So there's ways to reduce it and to take care of it just through exercise and diet without having to go to what can be like extreme measures such as a surgery that's pretty expensive and taking drugs for the rest of your life. In terms of, does Gyno ruin your physique? I feel like no, unless like you have giant boobs, you know, giant, like grotesque nipples. Well, if they're just like so distractingly big and like everybody can see that and that's not something in your own mind, then okay. But if you can look at your chest from the front and like not even notice it, if you can look at your chest from the side, not even notice it, if you can like really feel more muscle than you can feel breast tissue, then you're taking care of it pretty well, and you probably don't have to really worry about getting a surgery or taking relaxafine for your entire life just to reduce it down. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. See you guys in the next one. Peace out.